Hey everybody, welcome to my Suburban Oasis. My name's Soleil and I garden in mid-Michigan in a Zone 5B. Today we're in my planty room and we're going to be doing some indoor projects because it has continued to be cold, gray, foggy, dark, rainy, you name it, all of the bad weather things we're getting it. I'm hoping that some of it will turn into snow soon so that at least it looks pretty out. Anyways, we have a fun thing to do today. I'm pulling my canna lilies out of storage because I want to separate them and get a really good head start on them before I get headed into seed season, because soon we'll be starting to look at buying the seeds and then making sure that we get them germinated. And before that, I want to make sure that I get these potted up. I want to get them a good start because I want to separate them today because I want to plant them out. So here's my giant pot of canna lilies, and what happened with these was I barely got any because they were rotted. I bought them originally from Costco in a bag and it was a really good deal, except for that most of them were rotted. So I managed to salvage a very small, like 2-inch wide piece of the rhizome, and I potted it up and I was able to save it and get it to grow on. And by the end of the season, this is how much canna I had. So I'm really hoping to be able to use this next year. It's called Pretoria. It has this gorgeous variegated leaf color on it, almost, and then sometimes it has like almost this orange glow to the leaves, so it's super gorgeous. And then it does have like a orange lily flower on it as well, very brightly colored. And so I'm hoping to have enough of these to be able to plant around my pool for that really tropical effect. I planted some, they were called cardoons, and I don't know if you're familiar with those, but they looked okay this year, but they really didn't come into their glory until the very end of the season. So I missed out on a lot of the season of enjoyment. And I think these canna lilies, if I get them started now, if I divide them and start growing them on, even just a little bit to give them a start for a couple of months indoors, their roots will really start to get established. And once I get them out in the warm weather, they'll just take off like crazy. So let's see what we've got by pulling this out of the pot. Well, actually, before we pull it out of the pot, I think the first thing that I'm going to do is clip off some of the dead foliage. And before I do that as well, I just want to explain a little bit about why it looks this way. So I brought it indoors from outside, and I was going to just put it into the kind of closet that I have under the stairs in my basement, where anything that doesn't need to be looked at goes, and it's nice and cool. And I did that because I wanted it to remain dormant and kind of go into a dormancy so that I didn't have to try to grow it the whole indoor season of winter, because they just won't do that well. Even though I have some grow lights down here, it just is not the same as sunshine because it's definitely not as warm either. I just got these cute little micro clippers from my sister for Christmas. And so I'm opening the package right now because I'm going to use these to work on the plants. And I'm so excited about it because I've never had clippers for my indoor plants, and it's definitely nice to have them. I've been using scissors, but they don't work as well. So these are just a micro pruner set from Garden Line that she got for me. Don't ask me where she got them, I have no idea, but they're really cute. A couple of them look like bypass pruners, and then the other one is just a little pair of snips. So these will be really good for cutting off dead foliage, etc. I think I'm going to use the little bypass secateurs that are right here because that is good for larger plants like this one. And what we're going to do is just cut it way back. So even though we see a little bit of green on top, I really want to get rid of all of this dead foliage, including some of the green foliage. I might leave a couple of the leaves, but it's very important to get rid of as much of it as possible so that I can give it the healthiest start that I can. My goal today is to take this and separate it enough so that I actually have 3 pots. So I'm really just going right down in here and making sure that I cut it at the base. So it's going to look a little uglier before it looks better, but this is going to allow me to really see what I'm doing as I try to separate and divide the rhizomes. This has been inside for about 2 months now, so it's had a chance to really die back. Let's pull it out and see what we've got. I think we're going to have some nice new kind of separations because I see a bulge in the pot down here, so I think it's already started to, you know, try to send some of its runners out. Let's see what we got. Oh yeah. So if you look on the side here, you can see a brand new shoot trying to come up over here. We've got another shoot that's coming up over here. It's just, it looks very healthy. There's another shoot that's coming up right there. So this looks actually quite good. I'm really excited about it. And I'm probably gonna make a giant mess while I do this division. So let me get you guys a little bit closer so you can see what I do while I'm trying to cut this plant up. Again, it's gonna be a really big mess. I guarantee it. Well, I think you guys can see now, I'm probably gonna cut a little bit of my head off as I do this, but I think the important part is for you to see the plant and not necessarily me. So I think this looks really, really healthy. Just like I said, I've got lots of nice new shoots in here, which thrills me. And so I'm gonna pull a little bit of the soil off of this, just to give me a little bit more access to see where I'm cutting. And my sister actually got me a couple of new pots for Christmas along with these little micro pruners. And I will definitely be using those so that we can put 2 of these into them. Actually, I just have the liners inside because they're outdoor liners that go into a tall planter. And lots of this is just surface root that I'm pulling away at right now on top. Just trying to see where any of those new starts are coming, so I can try to separate this the best way possible. And I've left this dry after I brought it inside because this is not frost hardy. My zone gets down to about -20, -15, -20 in the winter. It's supposed to be a 6B, or 5B, excuse me. So it has been dried out and in a really nice cool spot to slow down the growth and have it try to go dormant a bit. But I just this last week took it out of that area in preparation for today. And as a result of that, I decided to add some moisture to it. So just a little bit, not too much. It doesn't have a lot of growth going on, and it won't even right away, even after I repot it and divide it, because it's so cool again and not as much sunshine. These cannas really do like having the heat. But I just made it so that it was no longer parched dry. So it's starting to get a little bit of moisture and telling it to start growing again, along with the warmer room that it's in now. All right, I don't know if this little knife is going to do the job for me. We're going to start with it and we're going to see where we go from here. I think what I want to do is cut down right here, so you can see I'm going to get this top right here, this top, and this top. So those are just some crowns, so I want to cut this half off, and then I plan to cut this one in between the 2 stalks there. So I'm getting like 2 really big stalks in each one and just kind of thirding this whole clump. Let's see how this goes. I don't know how solid the root ball is going to be. It could be incredibly thick with roots. Excuse me. I might even have to get like a saw or something like that out to get through this. That's literally how strong the roots of Canna can become. But sometimes the easiest way is to really use that pressure of your own strength to push those roots apart. And while I'm doing this, I may actually ruin some of the eyes coming up off of the rhizome with the new growth. But I'm not too worried about that because these are so resilient, these canna lilies. Okay, it looks like this one actually kind of divided itself. And I'm still going to have to grab the other partner to it. But that is one of the nice things about using your hands instead of just all knife, is that you can get some of these longer roots. And that's a really nice start right there. But let's see what else we can get. I want to take this part off right here as well, if I can. Sometimes we have to let the plant talk to us a little bit and tell us where to cut it. Because there can be some really big roots that connect the rhizomes. And I think that's what we're dealing with right here. So I might end up having to clip through it. We'll see. Nope, it's coming. All right, you see, that's where it broke off right there. And see, if I was out in the garden, I could use a shovel and just snap and break through some of these roots. But look at that, that's gorgeous. I've got a shoot coming up right here. This is the rhizome between them, and then I have this shoot here. So we definitely have 3 excellent shoots at a minimum for this pot. And this is the size of the other 2 liner pots that I have, so we're going to have 2 of these as well. All right, let's look at what we have left. I'm almost wondering if it would be good to cut through here and leave these 3 together and these 2 together. Just the way I'm looking at it, looks like these 3 are going to be really strong, including between these 2 right here. Because this looks like the main plant that I started with. But once you break through that really thick part, there we go. See that? That's a nice chunk right there. Some good roots. And I will just kind of let these settle in. I'm not going to water them. I'm going to fill the pots up with some soil and just kind of let them be. This one has a really nice crown on the side here, as well as this one. So this is going to be probably one of the largest clumps that I have. We'll get that in one of the larger pots here. All right, we're going to start with this round pot, and I've got these 2 clumps right here. They're pretty deep in the bottom of this pot, so let's just take some potting mix, and this is just your regular old Miracle-Gro potting mix that I have. It's indoor plant potting mix. I'm going to put this about a third of the way full. I'm not going to use a ton of potting mix because they aren't going to grow a ton. The point here is just to get them started, and that is what they will do. But they're not going to like take over this pot because they just won't have the time, energy, etc. to do that before spring comes. I know we have some time. I mean, here in my area, we probably, let's see, our last frost is right around May, the first or second week of May, depending on how nice the year is. So we have a few more months before these will even be considered for being put out. And probably for the next month, they will just really begin to acclimate at putting out some nice new roots. This is just a chunk of root ball right here, so I'm actually gonna just throw that out, put it in some compost. And you can see this is close to full. I'm just gonna tap it down. I may add more potting mix later, but right now I just want to make sure that the roots are all covered. And let these kind of tell me when they come out of dormancy. When I start to see some fresh new growth is when I will start to water them more. Like I said, I moistened the soil a little bit so that they won't be completely dehydrated. But I also don't want to overdo it, because until they actually start putting on growth, they really don't need much. All right, we'll set that one aside. Let's pot up this giant one. And if you're wondering where I get these scoops from, the scoops that I'm using for the soil are just from the dollar store. I think I got them in the party aisle where they actually sell some of their ice scoops, etc. And they're good at ice scoops, but I really love them as a soil scoop, and they're so cheap. I think they come as like a pack of 6 for $1. So you can't go wrong. I'm definitely going to need to open up a new pack of soil here, or at least dump some more soil into my bin. It's almost all gone. And let me get the other one potted up, and then I will show you what all 3 of them look like. All right, let's get this done. Okay, now that we're all cleaned up, let's show you what they look like. All right, here they are. Nothing super glamorous looking at this point, just really beginner plants. They almost look a little bit like what you might expect from bare roots, except they have some really good stems going on already and some really great roots. So we're off to a good start. Again, I'm just gonna let them sit here, acclimate to their new home in the nice warmer room with some more light. And as soon as I see them start pushing that new growth, I'm going to start to increase some of my watering, including even a little bit of fertilization. Well, I hope you enjoyed my video today, and I look forward to showing you what these canna lilies do as they grow on. I want to show you one other thing before we end, and that is my amazing amaryllis. It is the tallest amaryllis I have ever grown. Let's take a look. Here's some sound effects. There it is. That's the top. Okay, let's back up here because you can't even see it without stepping way far back. That is how tall it is. I have not measured it yet, but I guarantee you that it is over 2 feet tall. It is massive. The buds on this thing are incredible. This is my hand and this is the bud. They are about one and the same. I can hardly even reach the bud. That is how tall it is. Isn't that ridiculous? But it's amazing. It's going to be so beautiful when it blooms. I can't wait to show you. And I will post pictures on my Instagram account when it does bloom. Well, thanks again for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.